Please join me in welcoming to the stage, under the direction of Miss Madeline Clark, the King George Middle School Guitar Ensemble.
All right, good evening, everyone. This is our fall semester guitar ensemble, and they have been working extremely hard since the beginning of the school year. Most of the students that you see here on stage have never read music before or have minimally done it before in the past. So they have gone from not learning or not knowing how to read music at all and potentially never even holding an instrument before to learning how to do all of that and put it together into 4 songs for you this evening. So, the first song that you heard was Spanish Trio. This is a song that I do with all my beginning guitar ensembles just because we have 2 different forms of notation that we learn in this beginning guitar class. We learn tablature, or tab for short, which is one individual note at a time playing a melody or a harmony, and then we learn chords, which is multiple strings being pressed down and strummed at the same time. So, our next song is called Hidden Castle. It's a little bit more mysterious, and this starts to incorporate both of those things, tab and chords together. Spanish Trio that you just heard had 3 different tab parts and 3 different melodies going on at the same time. So we hope you enjoy Hidden Castle. So, Hidden Castle, we had a lot of fun working on that one as well. Our next song is a little bit longer and probably the most difficult one that we worked on this semester. I had never done this song or this arrangement of it before with any other guitar class, but they took on the challenge, and it involves a lot of difficult rhythms that they worked really hard on to learn. So this is an arrangement for guitar ensemble of Lean On Me. So we have a few people missing on stage this evening. There's been some illness going around, I'm sure most of you are aware. But luckily, they all get the opportunity to perform this week at school. During the school day, they will get to put on a winter showcase for some of their classmates. So we're really looking forward to that as well. Before we get into our last song, I just want to say a couple thank yous. Thank you all for joining us this evening for this short and sweet but really lovely performance by this group. Again, I'm just extremely proud of the work that they've put in over the last semester, wrapping up the end of this first half of the school year. It's really crazy how it flew by. This has been an awesome group to work with. I also want to thank Mr. Cheatham and Mrs. Connor, my coworkers at the middle school. They are awesome to work with on a daily basis and help everything go smoothly in here for our concerts throughout the school year, as well as Mr. Morrison at the high school. And I also want to thank just the administration, Dr. Nice, Ms. Wood, Mr. Steyer, and Ms. Taylor. They all have a lot of support, and they give us a lot of support in the arts here at KGMS. So I'm really grateful for that. And then finally, just these students, they've been awesome to work with. I can say it a million times over. But we're going to end out our evening with an arrangement of White Christmas. Please welcome to the stage, under the direction of Mr. Kevin Cheatham, the King George Middle School Jazz Ensemble.
right, thank you so much for joining us tonight here for the King George Middle School Winter Band Concert. We're so excited that you've made it out. We're so excited to see a full house. We love that. We've been really growing, and it's almost to the point that we're going to outgrow this auditorium, which is crazy to think about. But we're so grateful that you're here to join us tonight. The group that's here in front of you is our King George Middle School Jazz Ensemble, which I lovingly refer to as Earth, Wind, and Foxes. Rimshot. There you go. We'll get there. The first piece that we just played for you is a standard in the jazz repertory called All of Me. If you saw in the program, some of you might have went, ooh, John Legend. That's also a great song, but this is the one made famous by Ella Fitzgerald. We hope you enjoyed that one. The next piece we're going to play for you, our next two pieces, are going to be what we call jam pieces. And so the point of a jam piece is that it's less about the melody and more about solos. And what's cool about these two pieces is that when the students first learned both of these pieces, they did it completely by ear, which is something that's unusual for them because when they do band training, normally they're reading everything. But the way it used to be done in the jazz world in particular, everything was done by ear. And so they learned it by rote, by me playing it for them. And for the most part, they're playing it up here on stage, also without music, doing it completely from memory. And you're going to hear a melody, and then half of the band here is each going to take a solo. What's cool about those solos is that they are improvised. They're making it up on the spot. We've been trained in kind of how to do that. And if you're new to jazz and going to jazz performances, it is not only okay, it is encouraged that you clap after a student finishes a solo. Support them. We're going to have half of the students play a solo in this one, and then the other half are going to play a solo in our next one. The first one we're going to do is a piece from New Orleans called Second Line, Joe Avery's Blues, and we hope you enjoy it. In order, that featured solos by Irene Rivera Reyes, Austin Estevez, Kylie Rouser, and Daniel Falls. Give it up for them. Our next jam piece that we're going to play, which is going to feature the other half of the students playing solos, you might recognize from Booker T and the MGs, or if you've ever seen the movie The Sandlot. It's used pretty in that movie, made famous in that movie. And that piece is called Green Onions. Again, as soon as we start it, you might recognize it. That one is going to feature solos by Maddox Yates, Carter Mitchell, Sandy Miller, Landon Kennedy, Aurora Bobick, and then Eli Nicoletti. We hope you enjoy Green Onions. Thank you very much. Before we move on to the last piece that this group is going to do, I want to quickly take a moment to do some thank yous for this group. First of all, they didn't know I was doing this, but for the month of November, I happened to be out a lot. I missed a lot of school due to some circumstances, and I wanted to quickly thank Eli Nicoletti in the front row and Randy Rivera-Reyes right here in the trumpet section, who helped to run the rehearsals while I was out. They did a great job, so can we give them a hand for being awesome? Also, before we get too far, I did want to take a moment while they're on stage just to thank two of my colleagues that are here laying it down with the rhythm section. On my left, Ms. Guy Connor is joining us on piano, our elementary director. And then on my right, Mr. Joshua Morrison, our high school band director, is joining us on drums, laying it down. When we got to choosing what our last piece was going to be, for years I've always wanted to do like a holiday-themed jazz piece, but I couldn't find one that I liked or that wasn't like super corny. And I happened to stumble upon this one. Even though it has the world's corniest title, as you see in the program, it is Too Cool for Yule. Ha ha ha. Rimshot. We're getting there. But it is going to be a little holiday feature for the jazz ensemble. It's going to feature solos by Sandy Miller, Carter Mitchell, Eli Nicoletti, Randy Rivera-Reyes, and Maddox Yates. Once we finish this piece, if you'll allow us, we're going to do our one quick set change to get this torn down before we get to the rest of the concert ensembles. But this is Too Cool for Yule. George Middle School Jazz Ensemble, Earth, Wind, and Foxes. All right, thank you very much. This group here in front of you is the King George Middle School Beginning Band. This is the group of students that started band for the first time this year. Most of them never played an instrument before August and have been working over these last couple months getting to what you're going to see today. I told them earlier today not to give them too big of heads before they've even really gotten going, but I've taught a lot of beginning bands at this point in my career, and I think this one is one of the strongest, most cohesive ones, and it's really a fun time to teach this class, and I'm very grateful for the work that they do every day. So if you have one of these students, thank you so much for sharing them with us. They're wonderful, and I can't wait to see what they're going to prepare for the spring concert. For the portion of the concert today for beginning band, what we're going to do is kind of walk you through what beginning band has looked like since they started in August. That first piece that you just heard was called Little Robin Redbreast, and it was completely unison, which you probably heard. Every student was playing the exact same thing. We start really basic. Can we all agree in what we're going to play together? We're going to go down the trail of difficulty a little bit. So the next thing we're going to play is a piece called Serenity, which is a round. Maybe you're familiar with rounds, things like Row, Row, Row Your Boat, where everyone's playing the same line. They're just going to start at different times. And it's going to feature each of the sections playing the line at a different time. So this is Serenity. Thank you very much. The natural progression next, we're going to move to a piece that you'll definitely recognize, an old folk song called London Bridge. When we get to this point, now we're playing in duets. Everyone's familiar with a duet. There are now two separate lines of music, so the band is kind of split in half and we'll be playing two different lines at the same time. Another step in difficulty. Awesome. And I have a sense, I can tell this is a smart crowd. So, we just played duets. What's next? A couple of years shy, yes. I need some Jeopardy people in here that really know. Trios is what I heard. The next thing we're going to move to is trios. So now the band is split into thirds. So we're getting even more complicated with people playing more independent parts. And as we move into the trio portion, we're going to introduce our next conductor, who will be Miss Skyva Connor.
angle it down a little bit since I'm not quite so tall. Our next selection is also a trio, and it is another holiday selection, Jolly Old St. Nicholas. As we moved on in getting to harder things, the group got to eighth notes and worked really hard at those, and so we progressed on to a piece, their very first piece of sheet music. And we're going to bring out Mrs. Madeline Clark to present our last piece of music, Jingle Bell Tones.
Please welcome to the stage, under the direction of Ms. Gavin Connor, the King George Middle School 6th grade band.
Thank you. Our first selection tonight was a song called A Jubilant Spirit by Carol Britton Chambers. This group sitting before you is in their second year. All of these students are in their second year. They did 5th grade band with me last year, and hopefully you are able to hear, parents, the difference that having band every day has made. They have made great strides as they moved up to the middle school and been playing every day. One of the things that we have worked so very hard on this year is learning not to just read notes on a page, but to make the notes musical. Our next piece of music is we have worked really hard on their ability to slow down and focus on putting that emotion and musicality into it. We hope you enjoy A Quiet Song by James Swearingen. Before we finish out our portion of the program tonight, I would like to thank some people. I want to thank Mr. Cheatham and Mrs. Clark here at the middle school that I work with every day, and Mr. Morrison from the high school. They are the best colleagues that I could ever have to work with. They are fun, they are knowledgeable, and it makes my job so much easier and a whole lot more fun. I'd also like to thank Anna Opplinger. She's one of our high school tuba players. She played with the beginner band and with the 6th grade band tonight. Thank you, Anna, for helping us out. We don't start tubas until after winter break. After winter break, these students will have the opportunity to try out for some different instruments, the color instruments that you'll see in some of the upper grade levels. So we bring in ringers to help us out with some of those things. I'd also like to thank my students for all of their hard work. I begged them to please open their cases and play their instruments over Thanksgiving break because we didn't get to see them for quite some time before having a concert 2 days after we get back. So thank you all for all of your hard work. I'd like to thank you, parents, because without you and your support of your students and making sure that they take time to practice and getting all the reeds that they need and the oils that they need and renting those instruments, this could not happen. So we thank you for all of your support and your help with your students. Our last selection tonight is called Tambora by William Owens. It's a very exciting piece that is fast-paced, and it was inspired by the eruption of an active volcano called Mount Tambora in Indonesia. We hope you enjoy Tambora.
Stage under the direction of Miss Madeline Clark, the King George Middle School 7th grade band.
right, thank you. Our first piece was called Journey to the Stars, and we kind of have a little theme going on this evening. Our next piece is entitled Star Bright, which is our slower piece of the evening, and it is based off of the lullaby nursery rhyme, Starlight, Star Bright, first star I see tonight. So we hope you enjoy Star Bright. Before we move on to the final 7th grade band piece of the evening, I also would like to say a few thank yous. Mr. Cheatham and Mrs. Connor for being amazing co-workers and working with me every single day. Like she said, it is such a joy to work with them every single day, and it's a wonderful team, as well as Mr. Morrison from the high school. They are all incredible colleagues to have. Thank you all for joining us this evening and supporting your 7th grade band students. We have a record-sized 7th grade band this year, and a lot of them did beginning band last year. So this is, a lot of them, only their 2nd year in band, which is just incredible. So we are going to move on to our final piece this evening, entitled On the Horizon, ending our journey here to the stars and back. So we hope you enjoy On the Horizon.
Thank you.
Please welcome to the stage, under the direction of Mr. Kevin Cheatham, the King George Middle School Symphonic Band.
All right, thank you so much. This last group that's here in front of you is the King George Middle School Symphonic Band. This group is made up entirely of 8th graders who are anywhere between their 2nd and 4th year of playing their instrument. Again, as we've progressed through, the students have been doing this a little bit longer. It's a joy to get to work with this group every day. This is always the highlight of the day, getting to work with the advanced students and get to do some really cool and challenging things with them over the course of the year. This is the group that will travel to assessment in March and will represent King George Middle School as they perform a performance in front of judges for a rating. We do it every year, and we're excited for the work that they're doing in preparation for that later on. The next piece that this group is going to play is a piece called Air for Band. So as we start to get into closer to high school level music, particularly we'll start to do a little bit more of what's known as programmatic music, which means it's music that's not necessarily about something. It's not meant to make you picture the horizon or stars or anything like that. It just kind of is music for beauty's sake. And this piece, Air for Band, is significant because it's one of the few ones that's written specifically with middle school students in mind, but is still absolutely gorgeous in the way that it's designed. One of the things that's also a cool story about it is that this is my 10th year working at King George Middle School, and I did this piece on my very first winter concert 10 years ago, and so it's a joy to me getting to do it again here celebrating 10 years. So this is a piece called Air for Band, and we hope you enjoy it. thank you so much. Now, as all of the previous directors have done, I'm going to take a brief opportunity just to say my thank yous. I'll be as quick as I can. First of all, again, to our administration, Dr. Nice, Ms. Taylor, Mr. Steyer, and Ms. Wood, we're so grateful for the support that they have, everything they do to help elevate our program and to keep us relevant and allowing us to do in-school concerts and everything. We're very supported here at King George Middle School, and we are very grateful for them. So thank you very much. I do want to take a moment to also recognize we have another ringer joining us on stage. Helping out our clarinet section is Mr. Devin Archer over there. Devin is playing with us, and we're grateful for him. All of the high school students, anytime I'm like, hey, do you want to play something? They're like, yes, absolutely. They're always ready to jump on it, and we love that. I also want to say a thank you to Ms. Connor, Ms. Clark, and Mr. Morrison for being wonderful colleagues. It's a wonderful opportunity to get to work with them and to make music with them and these students every day. They didn't know I was going to do this, but like I said with Jazz Band earlier, I have been absent quite a bit in November due to some things, and so I did want to quickly give a shout out to Lindsay Hathorn on oboe and Sydney Landreth Wave right behind me on percussion for running rehearsals in my absence. They did a lovely job. Thank you both very much. I appreciate you. And the last thank you I'll do quick. I always, whenever anyone gives me a microphone, I always like to take an opportunity to thank my wife. She's a lovely individual. Being the spouse of a band director is never an easy thing because we're very busy. She's not here, so I'm not going to go on too much, but I love her. She's wonderful. She'll watch the video later, so thank you. Before we get to our last piece, I do also want to let you know that the book fair is taking place in the library. Once you go into the cafeteria, if you go upstairs, it is open until 9 p.m. We encourage you to go visit and buy some things. Tell them we sent you. I don't know why else you'd be here, but tell them we sent you. And then our last piece, we're going to play a piece called Dark Ride. Of all of the middle school band pieces that exist, this one's in like my Mount Rushmore of middle school band pieces. It's up there. It's really fun. Hopefully you get to see the kids have a lot of fun with it. There's some silly noises in it. We have a piano over there with Catherine Nestor making some cool noises. Pay close attention in particular to the trombones. They get to do some fun stuff at the end. This will be our last piece, and then we'll dismiss your students to you behind the auditorium. Please get home safe, and thank you so much for being here. This is Dark Ride. Awesome. Thank you again so much for being here. Get home safely, and we'll dismiss your students out to you behind the cafeteria or behind the auditorium. Have a great night.